Hello, welcome to yet another episode on Aspect. Today we're going to be doing part 2 to the documentary dealing with Perry McCants Senior, his life, his legacy, and wanted to get the second part going. So I believe the last time we left off where you were coming from, what part of the Carolinas?
South Carolina.
Okay, so you're coming from South Carolina, and now we're dealing with you now. I believe last time you spoke about your mother bringing you to Philadelphia. Is that correct?
First, I was brought to my grandparents' hometown.
Okay.
Which is Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
And coming there for the first time out of the sticks, most people call it. When I was in South Carolina, you didn't see town stores and stuff of that nature.
Okay.
All you saw was woods and trees and those kinds of things. So coming to North Carolina for the first time, and for the first time, after all the many years of seeing my grandparents. As a matter of fact, to be truthful about it, I didn't know what grandparents was.
Okay, so you had no knowledge of what grandparents meant in the sense of knowledge. Okay.
I did not. And so therefore, when the truth came, and I was introduced to them, one little funny thing I like to enter right now was when I came to the house and they started showing me around, I kept seeing all these houses together, which I was not used to.
Okay.
I'm saying, wow, man, look at all these houses, look at all how close these people live to each other. I wasn't used to that.
So you're talking about like the row home community as opposed to single home and twin homes, things like that, townhomes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I asked permission to go to the bathroom. And they said, oh yeah, go ahead, you go anytime you want to. So I went to the door and they said, where you going? You know, I'm looking for the bathroom.
So now, when you say you were blown away, what for those that's viewing, what blew you away? What I know you mentioned going to the bathroom and they told you where it was. So what blew you away? What was it that?
What blew me away was people are now using the bathroom inside the house.
Oh, so are you referring to Outhouse or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Down there we would dig outhouses out in the woods, most close to the woods.
Okay.
And that's where you use the bathroom.
So,
go ahead.
Because I've only saw this maybe in some movies, some old movies that's probably during that era. So you're saying like this, almost like a little wood kind of makeshift house where you go outside of the house to go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
Okay.
And some of them was a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And they made like 2 seats. It's carved in the wood.
Okay.
And you just drop it down there and go about the business.
Wow, that's amazing. So this is the first time you're mentioning that you experienced. So you're saying this is the first time you experienced a bathroom inside of the house as opposed to being outside.
Exactly.
And it blew you away. Oh, it makes perfect sense.
And the reason why I mentioned that, I just want to show how, even during my time, they had this type of thing going on. But it was never, it never mentioned. It was never discussed. Nobody asked no question because you didn't know what to answer.
Now you're referring to what wasn't going on, so that they understand what wasn't referred to, things like that. Was it the outhouse bathroom situation wasn't referred to, or?
Oh well, about the culture itself, about things going around. We would like put inside a capsule, and I would use that for the phrase, put inside a capsule, and outside of us, we had no idea what was going on.
Okay, so I understand you say that, like take for instance exposure, right?
Right.
So you're talking about, like right now we have social media, we have the news, we have this and that. So you're saying when you were coming along, there was no way to know what's going on in the outside world?
No way.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we didn't have radio, we didn't have television.
Okay, so you only had the radio to listen to certain programs and things of that nature. For the viewers, what year was this about where you were listening to the radio and there weren't monitors yet?
This is about 19 1948.
1940,
47 to 48.
47, 48. Okay. So for those that are viewing, so this is around a time where they would have soap opera audio only, where there was no visual. So you had to sit in front of a radio and listen to the soap opera there. So before the tube came along, this is what Perry Senior was experiencing as more like a kid to watch. Oh, excuse me, I'm used to saying watch, that's a habit. So he's had to listen to programs and news and things of that nature. So that's what he's referring to.
And I remember the Long Ranger coming on.
Wow, the Lone Ranger.
The Long Ranger would come on. It was tell a story about the Long Ranger. You had to sit there, and by me being a visual person, I can imagine him being on a horse.
Okay.
Him riding, him shooting. All those, my imagination went far beyond the radio.
Okay.
At that time, I didn't know what I had.
Nice.
And so it took me a little further. And we had another show called Amos and Andy.
I've heard that. Okay.
And I found out later on, after I got up in North and got mixed around in certain things and hearing certain things.
So now you're saying the transition wise, after you got from your grandparents' house, now you're dealing with when you first came to Philadelphia?
Right. And so actually, to go back a little bit more.
Okay.
And looking at these things, I came into my grandfather. He pastored 2 churches in North Carolina.
Okay. And I'm sorry, what was his name?
His name was, they called him Reverend King Solomon Davis.
Okay, King Solomon Davis. All right.
And he had 3 sons, 2 daughters that I know of.
Okay.
And he was a pastor of the church. And I'm coming from people that everybody knew was not church goers and not even asking about things of God, because I never heard about it.
Okay.
Even though I used to get visuals every now and then that I couldn't explain. For instance, one time I got a visual of a golden cross, and I could see it just as plain as I see my hand, but I didn't know what to make of it.
Okay.
And certain things would come to my mind that I couldn't, get in contact with because I had no idea what was going on. But one thing that always stuck with me, I always had a feeling for mankind, for women, for children, for men, for people, period. So I always had that feeling for them.
Okay.
Wanting to help them, wanted to reach out to them, wanted to make them happy. And, besides myself, I wasn't even happy.
Okay.
I didn't experience going through a lot of things that kids experience in the day. But the fact of it is, I wanted this for people. And I still do. And so, when I hurt someone's feeling, it bothers me also.
Okay, so it's like the connection you feel.
Exactly.
You're saying this is like even when you was a child, you felt this.
Even when I was a child.
Okay, so now when you get to Philadelphia, at what point, from the grandparents and transition to Philadelphia, what was that like? What happened in transition between? Was there an incident that took place in between, or you just they up and took you and brought you to Philly where your mother lived?
Okay, I believe that at this time, my mother and my grandparents probably had a little dispute.
Okay.
And so no longer my sister and I lived in the house of my grandparents. So we came up to live with my mother in Philadelphia, who had an apartment and who had a job, wasn't paying a lot of money and those kind of things. And we always were squeezed on this one floor apartment, which was the second floor. And again, I was thrust into the area of learning the culture and learning math and those kind of things, which they had no whole lot of knowledge about. But it excited me so until they couldn't give me too much to learn. Everything,
Okay, so you're hungry.
Exactly. Every time they would give me math problems, even though I would get it wrong, I would go back, and I had no problem going back to get it right.
Now, is it was it true that your older sister was the educator? She's one that kind of got you where you would get caught up in your grades and everything like that.
That's true.
Talk a little bit about the adjustment and how old you were when you came to Philadelphia, and what time when you started school that you didn't have schooling in the Carolinas or South Carolina.
Okay, so when I was in South Carolina, they had my uncle was called a sharecropper. Sharecropper is a person that goes around city to city, town to town.
Okay.
And they do the works on the farm for the person in charge. And you work for them until the season's over, and then you find somebody else to work for, or you may stay with them, depending on what your choice is. And during that time. And fast forward a little bit, my mother told me that when she left me down there, she told them that she wanted me to go to school and get my education.
Okay.
She told them. Now, when I got back, I was working on the farms and those kind of things, and I was never told this. So I don't know. So I don't go back and forth with it because
you know what you experienced.
Exactly.
Okay.
So coming to Philadelphia, I'm looking around and they want to put me to school, and here I'm a tall guy and I'm 10 years old and those kind of things. And they had a thing in the school that was saying, wow, we can't we can't put him in the first, second, and third grade. He's much bigger than the other kids. He's much taller. I'm hearing all this information, and so still I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. And they came up with an idea. They said, well, let's give him a psychological evaluation.
Okay.
And see where he comes from there. So to make a long story short, the psychoanalyst gave me a series of tests and asked me a series of questions and those kind of things. And he came out, his final answer was to the principal of Elverson Elementary School. It was at 13th and Susquehanna.
Okay.
I don't know, Mike was still there. He called her in the office and he says, there is nothing wrong with this young man's mind. He says what happens is that once you explain to him what he needs to do, it might take him a little adjustment, but he will be able to do it. But psychologically, there's nothing wrong with him. You don't have to put him in no slow learning class.
Okay.
And I remember that. So they, put me, actually they say I passed the test that he gave me and those kind of things. Again, I didn't know nothing about that or what was going on. But when I was put in the class, because they didn't listen to the psychoanalyst, they kept wanting me to be like the other kids.
Oh, okay. In terms of behavior, interaction, things
exactly.
Like that. Social.
So when they, you don't have to go to get ice?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
So when I don't believe I did that. Okay. So when I put down the class, they was getting the A's and B's and C's and some D's, but I was boom. I was sitting there. They would write it up on the board, but I was lost. So they put me in the class anyway.
Okay.
So I'm sitting back in the class, the slow learners class. So in the slow learners class, I will never forget this man. His last name was Turpin, Mr. Turpin. Big man, powerful man, didn't play, and didn't take no stuff from nobody.
Right. So just one moment.
Yes,
So when you say slow learner, are you referring to a learning disability class?
Yes.
Or remedial?
During my time, we called it the OB. They was called it out of brains, but it was a technical term for it. But it was for slow learners who couldn't keep up.
Okay. And about how long were you in that program?
I'm gonna do that right now. Mr. Turpin came one day and he kept giving me stuff and showing me in book copy. So he called Miss England, her name, I forget her name, Miss England, called her and asked her, said, what is he's doing this, Perry doing in my class. So she started explaining this, and so he's okay. He said, see that book over there? He said, I want you to go over and open that book up and see. That's a book, for him. And he did this especially for me. Opened the book up, she saw nothing but A's and B's, and not even C's. He said, now I got students in here that were born in Philadelphia, went to the first grade up, and they're getting D's and E's.
Okay. So his performance is much better.
There you go. He says, now the books, I read the books before, right? Because he showed me that. I was like, go over the shelf and pick any one of those books over there. She picked the books out and came back. He's opened up any page you want to. He says, now, Perry, I want you to read this for me. I read it for her. She was looking. She was shocked. So she said, wow. So she took me out of their class and put me back in the regular class. Now, those who going through certain things in school, listen to this. They told me that I would never be able to go no higher than elementary school.
Okay. In terms of keeping up with
in terms of keeping up with the kid.
Okay.
Right. The teachers that I had was blessed me so that I could capture what they were saying, put it on paper, and I could repeat it. And later on, I would go back and over and over again within myself. I graduated from the elementary school and went to high school. They said I would never be able to function in high school because it's too fast and levels up. I went there and went to called Starter Flasher Junior High School. Went there and accelerated so much until I graduated from there.
Okay.
Come on, here. And so once I graduated from that, I was told by the counselors that I could never graduate from high school. Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, you don't see the first trying to get in. He was trying to get your attention.
Oh, I didn't see him.
That's okay.
Okay. So I was sent. I was graduated from that, and I never forget it. I was so proud. My mother was proud. My sister was proud because they helped me a whole lot. When I went to high school, they would say that I would never graduate from high school. If you could go to Ben Franklin now, you see in 1965, I graduated from Benjamin Franklin High School with a high school diploma.
Wonderful. So let's back up a little bit. What was it like in high school? Things like that. I hear you mention the education part, but in terms of your life, what was it like? What was let's say the adjustment between elementary, junior high school, your developmental stages of interacting with other children, things like that. What stuck out in school or in the neighborhoods of Philadelphia at the time.
Okay.
What was that like?
And that's interesting because I became so amazed. I became so overjoyed with the learning that I was getting. I was able to read things. I was able to write my name and all those kind of things. And those things, it pleasured me so until I look forward to doing things.
Right.
I look forward to them. No longer was I'm sitting back in the back age, wondering about things and wondering about what was happening to me. I was able to advance forward. In high school, of course I was, picked on by my language and those kind of things, and the way I spoke and those kind of things, because I could understand the English part, but giving it back to people was another problem for a while.
Okay.
But this English teacher, I always ran into teachers that took an interest in me. And the teacher, I can't think of his, but anyway, told me, say, look, what you're doing is that you have to learn how to pronounce, your pronunciations is wrong because you're not using your tongue to make the sound. And they kept showing me how to make the sound and show me before I left this person's class, he told me, he said, look, you became the best student in my English class. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this. He said, because first of all, you're listening, you'll have a hunger to learn. And they picked it up on me. And all through the different schools I went to, I ran into those people that saw that in me. And they helped me to develop it.
Okay. Now, in this part, you just talked about the development of stage. Like, how old were you at this time when they helped you develop this?
Okay, at this time I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And then at 17, I was about ready to graduate, which they say I would not be able to.
Okay. So what was the streets of Philadelphia like? What was that like? What were the other children, peers? You know, you said 15, 16, 13, 14. Like these are like the adolescent stages going almost into your now adult years. So what was it like in Philly? What was, you know, because someone wanted to know what was Philadelphia like when you were coming on, that type of streets, the stores. What was that like? You know, life.
Okay. Philadelphia during the time I was coming up was a place I lived in the ghetto, as they call it, which is North Philadelphia. They had a gang just about on every corner.
Okay, so that's important. Okay, so
it's different with us today.
So there was a gang era then.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you didn't belong to any gang, you got beat up.
So you saying you couldn't just say, "Hey, I'm not a part of affiliated with this gang or that gang"? It didn't matter.
Yeah, look, didn't make no difference.
Okay.
You're in my territory. You don't belong here.
Okay.
And they would, you know, they beat you up, take your money, and those kinds of things.
So you had to adjust to the tough, you know,
yes,
atmosphere, lifestyle. So you couldn't go around smiling too much. You said.
No. You had to have it. You know, you had to have that sincere look. I call it sincere look.
Okay.
But it's a look of me of checking things out. But I did have a cousin. It was my first cousin. Once the different gangs found out that he was my cousin, things changed around.
And what's his cousin's name?
His real name is Ralph Davis, but they called him Boss.
Okay. Okay, so.
And when I said tough guy, he was a tough guy. He was born in Philadelphia too.
Okay.
He was born in Philadelphia. He was raised in Philadelphia, but he could use his hands. If he'd have went into boxing, he'd have been up there with the rest of them.
Okay.
That's how good he was.
You know, Philadelphia is the home of a lot of boxers.
A lot of boxers,
you know?
yeah.
So I'm gathering around that time. It was pretty popular to
yes,
box in the streets, slap box, and things like that.
Yes, indeed. That's
okay.
right. So it was you know, it was a time, and that I can look back, and it was a pleasurable time, behind the fact that I had a chance to spend with my mother. I learned how to play cards and different games with cards and things, and how to play different games and how to interact.
Okay.
And my sister would bring some of the girls in the neighborhood on the streets, and she would bring them in, and they would teach me how to do the popular dances.
Okay.
And they would teach me how to dress and how to, you know, say the slangs and those kind of things, and showed me how to fit in.
Wonderful.
And it became, you know, very joyful occasion. You know, a lot of times I had to run, and believe me, I could run, and I had to run behind the fact that if you couldn't run, you get beat up every day.
Wow. Well, that's definitely something that's important for the viewers and everyone that's listening, especially when it comes to your life and what you've experienced. But we're gonna be coming to a close. So what I want to look at next time is that we share the same gift. Am I right about it?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so we are both artists, and what I want to do when we come back in the next episode is talk about what was it like to be an artist. You know, from your childhood up into your pre-adolescence, adolescence, and so forth. So
it would be a blessing for me to do that.
Absolutely.
Behind the fact that, you know, it's I see, you know, a lot of times I see you in me, and you see you in me. Get
connection, yes.
Connection because of how we do things and how things was actually done.
Right, and it's also a lineage. So, you know,
yes.
We're going to touch on that. And for those of you watching, you know, give this channel a like, or give this video a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. This will be ongoing. Again, this is Extraordinary Man here that we're learning about, video number 2. Next time we'll be back for number 3.